Hello, everyone. So, Kathy and I are back. I feel like it's been a minute or two or three or months or something.
Hi, all.
Hi, I am so excited that we're here, and it is one hot topic. Did Rosemary betray her best friend's sister, Elizabeth? So, that's what we're going to be chatting about. Hello, everyone. Let's see. Chats with Roxanne and Kathy are a great way to start the week. Woo! Thank you. We're looking at hello from North Carolina, Avis. So Avis, are you new to our little chat? I mean, I apologize if do you recognize the name Kathy Avis?
I don't.
Yes. Sometimes we get quite a few people in the chat, so it's hard, but welcome, whether it's your first time or 900th time. Let's see who else is here. Joanne and Martha, and I saw Deb and Lillian and Cindy. Hi, Cindy. And Kathy White. Hello, friends. Rona's here.
A lot
Oh,
of familiar
hello.
names.
Who else? Brian's here, right?
Hmm?
We got all kinds of goodies. Carrie.
Janice
Okay. Bonnie.
and Rona.
Okay. I'm looking. Yeah. If we're missing someone, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to say hi to everyone. It's so nice that you're here joining us and talking because I don't know about you, Kathy. Aren't you starving for some content? Like, we got nothing.
There's only so many times I can rewatch, the seasons. So yeah, I'm kind of ready for fresh blood.
Martha says you sound like Romper's Room. Oh yes, I loved Romper Room, and the bee would come out. Oh my goodness, it's funny because I say that to my students since the first day I started teaching. I would say, "Look, this is not Romper Room when they get wild," and so nowadays they have no idea. We
Who
need
was
this
that?
to
Miss, what was her name?
not Marianne. What was it?
I
I
remember
forget.
being sat in front of the TV while that was on, and that kind of kept me occupied. I'm gonna have
Wait,
to look that up. Yeah.
they had a horse, right? I would get on I had a hobby horse, like a horse on a stick. I'd get on mine and run across the living room with the TV while it was on. Dear Lord, I was deranged even then. The
Yeah.
magic mirror.
Weren't we
Yes, I
all?
do.
Miss Francis. That was it. Miss
That's
Francis.
it. I'm ready for this conversation because I was fired up about what happened between Elizabeth and Rosemary. Let's go. All right, Gigi. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Miss Kathy. What do you want to start?
Well,
Sure.
I had mixed emotions about Elizabeth and the argument and considering that she had been betrayed because initially, yes, how dare Rosemary do that to her? And Rosemary seemed so cool about it. I had to do it because and this. And then I thought about it, and I kind of widened the time frame, and I thought about the argument that they had, like, I think it was one season ago or 2 seasons ago, where
One.
1 season ago, where Elizabeth totally cut Rosemary out of her life for several episodes because Rosemary dared to share her opinion about whether or not Elizabeth should be mad at Nathan. Anyway, I kind of think of it now as those two things balanced each other, and I did like the fact that there were maybe a couple of episodes later. What was it that came up? There was something else that was just right on the same par in terms of secrecy. And Rosemary said, I'm not going to say a word to anybody on this. Do you remember what that was, Roxanne?
Yes, it was at the very end, and she was interviewing Gowan and asking about the what happened with the mine and whatnot. She was going to print the story, and when Elizabeth went to talk to him, he said, "I really don't want it. He didn't want to be. It was a good story, but he
Right.
didn't want to be here of nothing."
Yeah.
And she walked in and she said he doesn't want it, and she went, "Whoop, okay," like that.
And with that whole she was redeemed with me as far as I was concerned.
Well, I have a totally different take on this. So,
Well, that's a
Elizabeth,
shocker.
I know. So Elizabeth is upset and she talks to Rosemary as her friend. And she should be able to feel comfortable and not be guarded and be able to tell her what she shared. But she's a newspaper reporter, right? It's her job to report news. And she wanted to report it and she talked it over with Lee, but she wanted to report it because she felt that the public needed to know. And she and Lee talked about it. She and Lee said, well, should I say it? If we don't say it and then a stranger says it, or they hear from somebody else, are they going to be as kind as we are? Are they going to tell the story like we would? So she's thinking of it in a bigger scope. Elizabeth was truly thinking about Lucas only. And that's censorship. She didn't want it'll make him look bad. And you know what? Like, it's your responsibility to report the news. And that's what she could have done. And she should have said, let her listen. When they tried, she even went over to talk to her about it. Listen to what I'm trying to say. And Elizabeth kept talking right over her. And she's like, no, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, you made up your mind. She's like, but I'm trying to explain to you how we would go about it. And she wouldn't even do that. So she went back, talked with Lee, and they wrote the story. And when Elizabeth comes back, Elizabeth says to her, they had a right to know. And you did a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just trying to protect Lucas. It's censorship again. So I feel like even though they're friends, she put her in a bad position. That's like a friend of mine coming to me who's a teacher and telling me something that went down and it's going to happen. And I'm like, oh my God, as a union, I'm a union rep. As a union rep, I have to say something. I know you're telling me the best that I can do is not say the source is you, but you're putting me in a bad spot. So that's how I looked at it. And when the two of them then had a conversation, go ahead, Kathy, you can jump in.
No, finish your thought.
Oh, then she didn't feel good about it though either. She said, I don't want this to get in the way, she being Rosemary. And she goes, neither do I don't want to feel guarded. I want to be able to talk to you. And then they had that wonderful moment, and I don't know. I think
yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Another issue, if you take another step backwards, is I don't think Elizabeth was right to open her big mouth, because I believe she had been told that information in confidence.
Yes.
So you're going to get all ticky with Rosemary because she betrayed your confidence when you betrayed, was it Lucas or Gowan who shared that information with her?
Lucas, I think.
Yeah. So I'm surprised I didn't do a follow-up argument with those two where he's saying, this was confidential. Why'd you go? And Elizabeth actually does that quite a bit.
Right.
Usually it's with Rosemary, though.
Deb, I see what you're saying. You're saying, nope, Elizabeth said to Rosemary that she didn't want her to print it off the record. You're correct. However, she tried to explain to her idea and how she wanted to do it. And after it was published, Elizabeth came to her and said, you were right to do it. It was a good article. You did a good job. I was just trying to protect Lucas, and I didn't want anybody in the town to be hurt. Those are her exact words. And she said to her, you had a right to, it was the right thing to do. And I think that I just didn't like where Elizabeth was coming, where I know she was off the record and she was telling her, but she was also putting her friend in a bad position, and she should not have done that. You don't do that to friends. So if she had a piece of information and it was weighing on her, then she should have talked to somebody else about it, like Jack, right? And like Bill, rather, talk to Bill about it, who already knew, Fiona, somebody that was in that circle, and have that conversation. But you're putting your friend in a bad position. And it wasn't like Rosemary didn't say anything to her. She had the conversation with her. And she said, I know it's off the record, but try to see my point of view. And that's what Rosemary said to her. You don't want to see my point of view. And she's like, it'll hurt Lucas. It'll hurt Lucas. It'll hurt Lucas. Whoopie-doo. It hurts Lucas. You know what I mean? He's one of many, So I was like, yeah. So those are my feelings.
Everyone is here with us tonight is a witness. If Roxanne ever gives me a scoop on When Calls the Heart, and I feel like it will have a big impact on the viewers, and I share it on my Facebook page, she's not going to really get mad at me, right?
No.
I think that's pretty much what you've just said and committed to.
Okay.
She's also committed to, I'm never sharing another scoop with her ever again in life.
Well, I'm very careful with what I know it, because I know this as like, I know you don't, I just don't, I don't know. I felt like she took advantage of their friendship. You know what I mean? And people are saying, oh, Rosemary took advantage, but Rosemary talked to her and explained. And then Elizabeth, I don't know. I feel like Elizabeth just put,
I see. I take it. I disagree on that. I don't think
okay.
she was taking advantage of their friendship. She was confiding in her BFF. She was
Yes.
confiding in her bestie. She. I don't think there was any part of her mind that thought, I'm talking to the publisher and the editor of the newspaper, and this could end up. I don't think that was even a consideration. So I understand why she was shocked and why her initial feeling was betrayal. Plus, and you add that little shade of it. I told you that in confidence, and Lucas told me not to tell anybody. And now, not only does the whole town know, but Lucas knows that I, betrayed his confidence. So there were a lot of layers on that she was feeling upset about, I think.
Hear you. Because I was fired up. Okay, that's what you do. I'm just weighing and want everybody else to weigh in and see what they're thinking. All right, here we go. Starting with Jan. She says, I think Rosemary did betray Elizabeth. I think it created an issue for Lucas. Certainly glad it worked out. And there's yes. And Deb is saying, I worked in the sports department for our local newspaper, and there is no discussion. Off the record is off the record. Okay. Sorry. All right. I love you, Kathy. I thought about that as well.
Thank you, Gigi.
Let's see. Brian, I think John Tinker likes stirring the pot a little. I was a little disappointed in Rosemary, who I adore. And you know what, Brian Shively? You are correct. Let's talk about that for a minute, okay? Just some of the stuff that we fought so hard as fans to like make peace with got thrown back in our faces a little bit, don't you think?
Well, we have to think about who Rosemary is.
Mm-hmm.
You remember when Rosemary first came to town? She was kind of like, damn the torpedoes, I am what I am. I'm going to give my opinion. And she was a little cold, but she warmed up and she became besties and a beloved member of the town. But she's still Rosemary. And so if there's something that she thinks she's right on, she's going to push through with it. And she's very cool about it. She doesn't get emotional. And I think that's a very interesting aspect of her character, that she explained to her, this is why I did it. And I tried to do it in the best way I could. And if you go back in time again to that earlier season where she was, Elizabeth came to her, Nathan did this and he didn't tell me about, Jack and Rosemary again was very cool. It was like, well, he wasn't really obliged to, he wasn't responsible for the death. And, so she was just very matter of fact. And I think that's just an aspect of her personality that Elizabeth needs to acknowledge and realize. And we'll see if in future she is so quick to share information.
Right. The one thing that was disturbing to me, and I didn't go down because there's a lot of really cool little tidbits in here. The one thing I found interesting and the one thing that I didn't like is the fact that she just barged in. She's done that before, but she just barged in and said, we've got to talk, and out the door he went. She has to know that Elizabeth is in a relationship, so she should be giving her privacy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Giving her some space.
Yeah, that was irritating.
It is, but again, that's true to her personality because when she's got
something, all about me. It's all about Rosemary, no matter what.
Yes, when she's got something, in that brain. But you know what else I found very interesting was Lee's attitude, because I think if Lee had said to her, "Do you really want to do this?" It's off the record, because she starts off with saying, when he's massaging her feet, she starts off with saying, if it was anyone else but Elizabeth, he's like, we'd be out there, no problem, printing it like that, but it's Elizabeth. Again, I feel like that's, I don't know, that you're putting your people in, I don't know, in a bad position. It's like taking advantage, but I get it. So, I was like surprised. He wanted her to publish it.
Mm-hmm. Well, there is, and you remember this kind of falls in line with Lee running for mayor. In his thinking about the town as a whole, there is a concept called the greater good.
Yeah.
And I think that they both believed that it was important. This was significant information for the town to know. And
Yes.
so from their perspective, they really didn't have a choice.
And do you remember when Lee wanted her to go out and stump with him and whatever else? And she's like, "No, because I have to, it'll look like yeah." And so, and she wrote his acceptance speech for him. Remember, like when he came back, because she does care about him. So she was objective that way, which, yeah, just putting the things out. Okay, let's see. What's Gigi saying? And Kathy, that's a good idea for Rosemary. She needs to learn to be quiet.
Yep. Yep.
Quiet how? What do you think? What do you mean?
Um, I think what Gigi is saying is kind of what I've been thinking, that she just needs to pull it back.
Yeah.
She barges in, she
Uh-huh.
inserts herself into conversations and situations
Mm-hmm.
and offers an opinion that was not asked for. And I think she just needs to, well, you know what? This all may be moot because, and I think this is all part of why we're not getting a whole lot of behind the scenes information on season 10.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be seeing a whole different, we possibly could see a whole different side to Rosemary now that she is expecting.
Okay.
I'm really looking forward to what changes may come for her in her personality, in the business. Is she going to continue to be so focused on the newspaper, or is she going to, just kind of lay back and take care of herself? I'm dying to know what Lee's going to do. I don't mean to hijack away from Rosemary.
No, that's fine.
I'm dying to know what Lee is going to do between the lumber mill and the newspaper. And is there an opening for mayor? Did they appoint someone?
Well, Jack, I mean, I keep saying Jack, Bill gets it. It's back to Bill. They even said that towards the end, but
Bill's got some shady stuff going on with his health, so we don't
yeah.
know quite how that is going to all shake out. So I actually am kind of excited, and as much as I love scoops and behind the scenes, there's nothing for me. I don't mind kind of going into it cold and just
Yeah.
discovering everything, as the episodes unfold. We've gotten so, I'm of an age where I was so into the soaps. Oh my gosh, I was hooked on all of them. General Hospital, Days of Our Lives. And back in the day when I started watching those, there were no scoops.
No.
There weren't spoilers. We had to watch and I personally think that could have started the lead into the demise of soaps. We knew what, was going to happen. And if the fans who knew what was going to happen made their voices heard, and writers started changing plots to accommodate the fans and all that, I think that all contributed to it. But it was really interesting and it made me want to tune in each day or each week when I didn't know what was going to happen. So I'm kind of not, yeah, I'm with all of you that it'd be nice to know, just give me some hint. But just tuning in cold.
Anticipation.
Yep, especially season 8. Yeah, I couldn't, I don't think I could have survived without the little clues, but yeah, season 2 is going to be a blast.
It is. And maybe we'll see. I'm wondering if, like you said, we'll see a different side of Rosemary. I do know that Elizabeth and Rosemary at the end said we don't want to be so guarded, remember? And then that moment, like we said, at the end, which is supposed to have redeemed her. And Janice is saying she may have been redeemed by some, but I'm still not sure. Jen, you are so correct, because people are so fired up. I saw this all over social media and I was like, oh, wow. And I just have a totally different perspective on it than most. And Deb is still fired up saying, and she even said that is not for print, which I get, but what gives her the right to say it? I know they're friends, but when you're saying something like that, I don't know. I thought,
well,
go ahead.
Rosemary could have said at that point, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Don't tell me anything that's not for print. And she also, while Lee was running off the mimeograph one copy at a time, she could have gone next door and said, Elizabeth, just so you know, we're going with the story. So there were several opportunities for Rosemary to not just blindside her.
Right. Well, she didn't blindside her though, because she did said, because Elizabeth said to her, "You're going to do this, aren't you?" And
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like walked out. But but right away in the morning, she's like, "Oh, you were right to print it."
Yeah.
But okay, let's see. And you know what I find funny? I want to say something about off the record in a few minutes. My problem with that, what Rosemary did was Elizabeth told her it was off the record. Yes, everybody is saying that, Lillian. Yes, I hear you. Rosemary say, I'm sorry, Rona saying Rosemary should have tried to get the info about the mine from somewhere else. A good reporter should have gotten it from more than one source, she said off the record.
She should have
Okay.
gone to see Fiona. She would have opened her mouth and told her everything she needed to know and more. Well, she would have.
And Switch Susie saying, I still think off the record is off the record. And Rona, Cindy's agreeing with you, saying this is my take on it too. And she's saying it's not censorship. It is actually, but it's, you think the censorship is justifiable. Nope. Elizabeth said to Rosemary that she didn't want her to print it off the record. Yes, Deb, we know you said 500 times.
And again, she should have stopped her though and said, nope,
Yes.
nothing is off the record, or depends on what it is. So that was on Rosemary.
And Gigi saying, when you go to someone, a so-called friend, and say off the record, that is law in real friendship, not to betray a confidence. Yeah. I know, you know why I have a different point of view? Because I've had this happen to me. I've had people come to me to tell me something because we're friends, but as they're telling me, I'm saying to them, you do know that you are telling me something that I have to report. Like, you're asking me to do something that and it's a little different though, that needs to be reported. So I kind of could feel that situation. Now I want to talk about off the record. I never say to anybody that's in a position to report or whatever, in a, you know, it has some kind of authority of something, off the record. I never do, because just because you say it doesn't mean that they're going to, do you know what I mean? They're going to like make it off the record, obviously.
I did it only once and he honored it. So
Oh, that was nice. Good. That's honorable, right? Oh, that's honorable. That says something about Rosemary. But when you break a trust, it's hard to regain that confidence. Good point, Kathy. It was from Bill. Bill told Elizabeth and not Lucas. I feel like
I
they
thought it was Lucas.
No, you know what? I think that Bill, I think that's true, because when he was telling her, he said, "Don't get mad at them because they were all told they weren't allowed to say anything." And I'm, as I'm saying it was Lucas, I'm thinking, I think that's correct. I think that it was Bill, because
I'm
during
gonna
the
have to go back and watch that scene.
yeah,
I remember distinctly being furious at Elizabeth, and I'm like, didn't Lucas tell you that in confidence, and you just went and opened your big mouth and told Rosemary? So I'm going to have to go back and look.
okay,
At
Rona,
that.
you're saying, I'm sorry, Rona, you're saying it was Bill, and it's funny because as you're saying that, I remember when Bill was in his office, and the three of it was the three, Gowan, Lucas, and Kate. I was gonna say Kayla, but you know, I mean Fiona. The three of them, and he's like, "This doesn't go anywhere. You can't say anything." And so then when Bill was talking about it, Bill was like, "Don't get mad at anybody. I said they couldn't say anything." Yeah. And Gigi saying, exactly, Kathy. Elizabeth shouldn't have ever told Rosemary anything about Lucas's business. And Jan saying, rather than Rosemary listening, then Rosemary should have told her that she didn't want to hear about it. Yes, like you said, timeout. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And on a whole different note, though, just to add, or being devil's advocate,
Uh-huh.
it was a topic that was a sore point and affected just about everybody in town.
Yeah.
And so I can see why Rosemary and Lee felt like the people had a right to know, but it could have been handled differently, I think.
Yeah.
To achieve the same effect.
I know there was a part though where, and you're correct in that, but there was a part where she was trying to explain to Elizabeth why she wanted to do it. And Elizabeth talked over her. No, 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 Lucas, it'll hurt Lucas. It'll hurt Lucas, you know, that kind of thing. So that's the part that annoyed me. She wouldn't allow her to speak, because I felt like she should have allowed her to speak and then still said, I get what you're saying. I see your point of view, but I told you in confidence, I don't want to be guarded with you. This is going to hurt our friendship. I want to be able to come with, like, she should have said all that then, and she did.
But we're talking about Lucas. This is the man she loves. This is first love. He's confided in her. So number one, he's about to find out she broke that confidence, or at least that's the way I remember it. And number two, she's afraid he's going to be hurt by this. And so, no, she doesn't care about the town or the mine or, Rosemary's feelings. All she knows is the man she loves could be hurt as a result of something she did or said. And so I totally get why she was just so focused on that.
Yeah. Yep. Broke her trust. Good luck with that. Exactly, Kathy. Sue is saying exactly. You know what's funny? Susie loves the news and the media, and whether it be on TV or whatever. So this is why she's like off the record. Like she's just in it with Deb. She and Deb. What's Lillian saying? A good newspaper reporter gets confirmation from another source before printing a story. You know what? This is true. And she possibly could. I mean, they're making drama for us as viewers. And she very well could have called Bill and said, hey, Bill. I mean, we don't know that didn't happen, that it wasn't just from what Elizabeth said. So we don't know.
Martha Herndon made a comment at 7:28 that I so agree with.
All right, where is it? Put it up. You can put it up, right? You can share.
I don't think I can. I don't know how.
If you just click the actual comment and see if it comes up. No, I have to do it. Okay, tell me where it is.
7:28 p.m. my time. So 8:28 your time.
All right, hold on. 8:28. Oh, okay, wait a minute. It's down here. Skipping over people. Sorry, people. It's Kathy's fault.
It is.
No. It was Bill. It was. Okay, so she was saying it was Bill who told her. Yes, good point, Cindy. We missed some stuff, but we will go back because we're going to Martha. Where are you, Martha? I can't find you. 8:28, 8:27, 8:27, 8:27, 8. Wow, you people got up. Shut up. What did Sue say? Shut up. I'm missing stuff. All right, 8:28.
There's only 3 of them there. So once you get to the 8:28, it should be.
There's Martha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to point out, I so agree with this, and I love this aspect of it because I spent 3 years wanting them to get together, and I absolutely adore protective Elizabeth because, he spent 3 years protecting her and looking out for her, and if she wants to get feisty and say, I can't let you hurt my man, I'm okay with that.
Okay, yes, and I think this is really why there's no one who sees Rosemary's perspective except for me in this chat. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because, they love Elizabeth and they love Lucas. And I'm okay. All right. You're all blindsided a little bit here because you're all a little prejudiced. That's your couple.
And Elizabeth was upset from the Lucas perspective. And then when the whole light of day, when she read the article and, she sees that it's fair, she wasn't upset anymore. And personally, I think they may have deleted a scene where she had a conversation with Lucas and he said, you know what? It's okay. I read the article. It's fine. I wish they had shown that. I mean, I wish they had shown them having a conversation. I'd love to see her going back to him saying, I broke your confidence, assuming I'm right. I'm sorry. Again, in my memory, Lucas is the one who told her, but having a conversation of, I broke your confidence and now, this got published in the paper and I'm so sorry. And watching him comfort her and tell her it's okay. I'm never telling you another thing in life.
Gigi said Elizabeth needs her original true best friend back, Abigail. She would never have betrayed her trust.
I don't know. Abigail was mayor, so.
And she was for the town and sometimes made some tough decisions. So I don't know. Let's see. Rosemary could have gone to Bill or Lucas before publishing the story, letting them know privately before publishing. I don't remember seeing them shocked. So the people that were upset and shocked would have been all the people they wanted, that were being told what was happening. But they were just upset that it was open, like the mine was opening. What's this? Brian, I agree with Roxanne that Elizabeth should have confided with one of her other friends about this issue. Yeah.
Well, but what other friends?
Someone else that, like Bill, like she could have had a conversation
Well,
and
Bill
like,
knew. I mean,
yeah.
everybody who's close to Elizabeth, other than Rosemary, knew. And who else is she that close to that she would share something like that?
So why was she telling Rosemary then?
She needed an outlet.
So she couldn't be an outlet with one of them?
No,
I got
because she already knew. Plus, she just wanted to
yeah.
share the news with somebody who didn't know.
It's because the writers wanted us to argue over this.
There
And
you
they
go.
were invested. What happened to Deb? Yes, they do. It just happened to me a month ago and they honored it. Oh, I'm not saying, Deb, that they don't honor it, but there are many people that don't, that, they do honor it. Yes, I know. And there are many that don't. Elizabeth kept the confidence. Roxanne, the thing is, you tell people either to stop or not say anymore. Yes, which we
That's
have
what we
said.
were saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it was in the kitchen. Yeah, wait. Bill is as chatty Cathy. Yes, he
Hey,
is.
wait a minute.
Bill.
I resent that.
Oh, because of your name, right?
I'm
Yeah.
feeling personally attacked here. Because
Oh, come on.
that's what they called me in grade school. That
Oh,
doll was popular at the time.
you're
And
having
I
flashbacks.
did have a big mouth. So, yeah.
Yes. Which when everything is said and done, the plot would have been totally messed up.
I don't know if the townspeople had stayed in the dark and then one morning they woke up and there was this huge explosion. That might have been kind of fun. Like, what the heck is going on? And then they would have had to backpedal and explain everything.
She did, Arlene. She does. Rosemary does say to her, I will not betray your trust for anything or anyone ever
Oh,
again.
and there was something else that came up. What was that, Roxanne?
The story with Gowan.
Was that? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So they were going to publish the story about what a hero Henry was. And he was like, I'm really not feeling this, please.
Yep.
And rather they didn't. She went to Rosemary and said, he really doesn't want this. And Rosemary was like, oh, she didn't say this. She's like, I owe you one. Forget it. It's not going to happen. So
well, who cares about the beetle?
Hmm?
They also said something like the beetle, the Benson beetle.
Yeah.
They were going to publish it. Who cares? And then they just,
I think that going forward, it'll be interesting to see the next conversation they have where there's a confidence involved. I guess I'm not sure if Elizabeth would share another confidence of such consequence. And what would Rosemary's reaction be? Would she say, wait a minute, are you sure you want to tell me this? I can't guarantee it'll be off the record or whatever. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that going forward.
And I think we might see that. But there was something, nobody has said it here, but I saw it somewhere else where they were like, how contradictory or not ironic how the gall that a Rosemary says, I'm pregnant, but don't tell anybody. Like makes her keep that confident. You know what I mean? Like after she had,
Well, that ship has sailed since Lee went out in this night shirt, spread the word. I think it's really interesting. I've seen a couple of comments. I think Brian said it, and I don't know if Gigi, somebody agreed, bring Abigail back. I don't know about that. I think probably could be its own storyline because when she left, Abigail was Elizabeth's best friend. And at that point, Rosemary was just kind of this little mosquito floating around. Oh, I'll take care of the wedding stuff. Oh, I'll do this, I'll do that. But nobody took her really seriously. So it would be kind of interesting. I don't think that if Abigail comes back, she would necessarily just slide right back into the best friend role. I mean, she'll be a really good friend, and maybe they'll figure out a three-way friendship. But I don't think she's going to necessarily supplant Rosemary at this point.
No, she's got too big of a role and whatnot. I get it. I agree. Christina says it can go both ways. Elizabeth should have understood that this was huge for her career, and should have come to an understanding. Yeah, that's true. Well, I already feel like that. Elizabeth's in love and will protect Lucas. Yes, that's just true. And Susie was telling me to shut up. Thank you. Um, she can. Let's see. Christina, I think too, Elizabeth should have given Rosemary a chance to write it respectfully and would have done justice, Lucas justice. Is okay. I'm glad you were talking about this. I see Michelle. So Michelle, I know that we've never talked directly. I'm not sure who C Michelle is, but hello and thank you for being here. I'm glad you were talking about this because I was so upset with Rosemary. And I thought Elizabeth forgave her too quickly. They kind of have.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go.
No, I was just thinking of that other analogy back when Elizabeth cut Rosemary dead. It was quite a while before she made up. And the only reason she made up was she needed someone to bounce ideas off about Lucas. She needed to talk about Lucas. That's the only reason that, if that hadn't come up and she hadn't had to make the decision, she probably still have Rosemary in the deep freeze. So she owed her one. She really did owe her one.
Yeah, they did owe each other. They owed each other.
Mm-hmm.
But owed each other not really. They really are good friends. They love each other.
They needed to forgive each other.
Yes,
I'll say
unconditional love.
Yeah.
And you know what? Humans make mistakes. See, this is what makes those characters so real. Elizabeth was a hot mess last season because she wanted to be in love, but she still was trying to figure out that feeling for Jack and make that decision. You know what I mean? So she was a mess. And who do you hurt? People that you usually
too.
Yes, and she knew that she could hurt her friend, and they'd still be friends. Do you know what I mean? Like in the back of her mind. So, I mean, and then, this whoever wrote this was good.
Yeah, it was all part of the whole conflict with Elizabeth. She was conflicted about everything. Her feelings about Jack, about Nathan, about Lucas. And when Rosemary kind of cut through all that with some common sense, it's like, I don't want to hear that, because if I hear it and accept it, I need to make a decision, and I'm not prepared to do that. So I just back off, woman. Yeah.
And mean to her. And so now we've got the tables turned and Rosemary is totally out of place. And Rosemary, I know, is Rosemary. So I guess you have to love each other for who you are. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, Elizabeth is not without faults, although for the longest time the writers made her that way, so that when she was very human in season 8, people were mad at her. And I was like, the writers are showing you I know she's not like a I don't know, a god. She's a human, which I love. And Rosemary's extremely human. Something I just thought about, it's a little bit off topic, but it's not. Rosemary is just a hot mess, like barging in and going, and she was really a hot mess this season. And I'm wondering if they made her extra because she was hormonal and pregnant, like we find that out later. But do you remember, because she was super over the top, do you remember when they have to take a photograph of the trustees or the board of in the town, and they're all together, and she comes in and she's like, you're all so gloomy, and she starts singing a song, right? And Bill goes and taps real hard Lee, and Lee's like, Rosemary, honey, and she stopped.
I think about the Rosemary moment when Lucas first came to town, while he was still setting up the big affair opening event for the saloon, and she came over and she said, oh, for your opening night, I'm sure you want entertainment. You've heard of me, of course. And what kind of music would you like? He's like, actually, we got to play your piano. We got it covered. But it's all about Rosemary. And what I love more than the Rosemary moments are the fact that Lee loves her to death, and he accepts it. And he just goes with it. He puts his foot down when he has to, but he's just, sweetheart, they've got it covered. You can stop now. And she knows when to. It's like Lucy and Ricky. You remember that? Yes. No, not Lucy. Maude. You remember Maude and Walter? And she would just talk over him and have her way with whatever was going on. And he'd get so frustrated. At some point, he would go, Maude, sit. And she would just shut up and sit down. And that's the way I feel about Lee and Rosemary. Sometimes he just has to go, Rosemary, sweetheart,
I get it. I get it. I agree. I love their dynamics.
Yeah.
All right, so back to C. Michelle. It says, "I'm glad you are talking about this because I was so upset with Rose." Oh, I already said that, right? And forgave her too quickly. But anyway, hi, C. Michelle. My brain's all over the place. Sorry. I'm just so excited we're here together. What's oh, you're funny. My new name, Devil's Advocate.
I love the way the writers have they got the triangle out of the way, and we've got our couples established. And I love now how they're focusing on other relationship dynamics. So they've got Rosemary and Elizabeth, and who is Faith dealing with now? Faith and not is it
Nathan
Faith and Nathan? They're
and
exploring,
May.
and
Yeah.
May, that whole dynamic. And I
Mhm.
think that's pretty cool that I'm relieved that we're not just focused on romance. I think Lucas and Elizabeth are getting good stuff to play. I think Rosemary and Lee are getting good stuff. Are they the only two couples that are real couples?
No, there's Joseph
Minnie,
and
Minnie,
Minnie,
who did
and
you say? Who did I miss? Minnie
no, I
and
said Minnie and
Joseph
Joseph.
and Missy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And there's Ned and Florence.
Oh, I don't know how if he can pay any attention though. He's too busy inventing every new gadget of the 20th century. Okay, I'm making a prediction that when season 10 starts, Ned will have invented the stoplight.
Okay.
There you have it.
All right. Sounds good to me. Deb saying, I understand your stance as a union rep. Hearing stuff about your district is hard to hear and keep quiet about it. Let's see. Devil's advocate. Gigi saying that you love Rosemary the same way I love Abigail. That's why you see that situation different. Yes, I liked Abigail though too. I loved her character in the story. She's like an exceptional,
I
authentic
I
actor.
adored her with Pastor Frank. I thought
Wow.
she just shined in that.
Yeah, she was good. Very good.
Mhm.
She is good. Christine, Kathy, I was thinking the same thing. Maybe Elizabeth talked to Lucas about it. Lucas never says anything bad about anyone.
True.
Oh, here we are.
Except
But
the one guy who came to town and held Elizabeth hostage. Yeah, he wasn't too pleased with it.
no. He said he would have fought to the death for her. But when Elizabeth asked Rosemary not to print Henry's story, a bigger story, she immediately agreed not to print. Yeah, because they talk to each other. And she said, I don't want to ever, you were correct, but I never want to feel guarded with you. And she goes, I'll never do it again. Like she said, I won't. I'll never want to be in that position. So I'm thinking that if something like that ever happens, Rosemary's learned to say, no, that don't tell me. You know what I mean? That kind
Mhm.
of thing. But when it comes to Elizabeth, she's never going to say that to her. They're just going to keep it quiet.
Mhm.
And Anne Marie Dash. Well, Anne Marie is so like feeling about this that she had to make sure she put in the chat. Off the record means off the record. Rosemary should have published after getting info from another source. Yes, Abigail was mayor, but her love and friendship with Elizabeth would have made her choice to keep her secret. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
I do not know. I'm just kidding. That's Martha. Kathy, I tell Roxanne I like you all the time. This is true. She does.
Ah,
She does.
thank you, Susan.
I agree, Gigi. Bring back Abigail. What was up with, okay, what's this? What was up with the quote Rosemary stated, he who does not offend cannot be honest? Who said it? Anybody know? Oh, they say who said it. Did we ever look it up?
I'm
Kathy?
Googling it.
All right. Kathy's Googling.
I love Google.
All right. So I'm going to start it. And do you want me to keep it up so you can see it?
Please.
I'll keep it up. Okay. I think Elizabeth will share everything with Rosemary going forward. You think she will? She will. I think that's what you're saying. I think they'll be fine. I thought it was awkward seeing Lori in When Hope Calls. Don't know how it will be if she comes back. Oh, good Lord. Now we're going to debate that. Roxanne and Kathy, so glad to have you back for these chats. We're going to tell you something before we end. Just a little teaser. I agree with something both of you were saying, but best of all, you're making me laugh. Oh, good.
Thomas Paine said it.
Was it?
Thomas Paine.
Thomas Paine. And I think that they said that. I thought that they said who the quote was from. Don't forget, Minnie is buying Abigail's cafe, so Abigail may well be a thing of the past. True.
I don't know what role she'd play unless she came back as mayor and that was her only function. I don't know where she'd live, what kind of business she'd have.
We don't know where anybody lives in that show anyway. Like Anna. We know Anna now lives upstairs above the cafe. We have no idea where Faith lives. We have no idea where Bill lives. I know we're off topic. I did a whole thing on this, and I thought Bill lived upstairs above the judge's chambers because that is where Henry was. And when he was recuperating, and I remember Abigail standing outside and looking up and then going up to visit him. And I'm thinking, then Bill says he's all sick and last season and it's late. And Lucas says, I want to give you a ride home. What? On his back up the steps? I'm like, where do you live?
One of the CGI row houses, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. Okay, Janice, maybe that's why Lori is back in Canada for a week to film the sale of the cafe or wedding.
I don't know. I guess I could see them bringing her back for not full time, but coming back just to take care of that kind of business, and then she's off again. I don't know.
The reason why she didn't come back was, and even because even Brian Bird said I would love to have her back in an interview he had done at the end of season 8, and he said we would love her back. He said, but the powers that be, I don't think it's going to happen, and it's because of the whole law and about having your visa and criminal charges. And I know she got permission to do something, and then and I'm not even sure, was Hope called when Hope calls, is that what it is? I don't know if that was filmed in Canada, was it? I thought that was filmed somewhere in the US, but I could be wrong. But anyway, who knows? Like, yeah. It could be.
I don't know. Hallmark may be relenting because they're bringing back things like garage sale mystery.
Yes.
Some of her stuff is coming back. So maybe they're testing the waters. Who knows? We don't know any of this. And that's kind of what I was saying earlier. It's kind of cool. I mean, the rush of just turning in, some episode and it's like, oh my gosh, it's Abigail,
Yeah. Well, I think there are so many predictions as to why, and I could get on. There's a young woman, if you're here, I forgot your name and I'm sorry, and you might be tuning in and not commenting, but there is a young woman who has started her own channel, and she comes out and she says predictions for season 10, and then she shows the parties and whatnot. Something that was said that was like incorrect, but that doesn't mean I haven't said things that are incorrect. But I'm thinking, you're predicting, I don't know how, but kudos for you, because I don't even think of being able to use any of that for predictions because we don't have anything for predicting. You know what I mean? So I think it's a big secret, as we were saying earlier, because we were able, accidentally, they showed us stuff. I always go back to Jack Wagner. He didn't mean to let us realize but he was doing something funny in that quick shot. We slowed it down. We zoomed in. We knew that the dress shop had become the apothecary, but it was the soda shop. And in the show, they didn't even know, and they were hiding it, but we already knew it. The fun of it was given away. So I think that's why they're on lockdown, and that's okay. I'm glad they're on lockdown, but people have predictions about it. Like, is it because it's Christmas time and it's snowy, and if we saw that, we would know, and they want to surprise us? Or is it because Abigail's there? Is it because this person came back? So
maybe it's just because they're putting together really good, compelling episodes, and they want us to watch them with fresh eyes and no preconceived notions.
I know.
Go figure.
I've had this up before we end. We're going to give you a little tidbit of what's coming up with us, but Christina, this is my favorite comment, girl, of the whole night. I love hearing you two talk. Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Christina.
Gigi, exactly, Michelle. She should have given her the cold shoulder for a while. Rosemary's older, and I would think she was more mature to think because betraying her. Yeah, we know Rosemary. Just because she is older doesn't mean that she's mature.
Or wiser.
Yes. To let go of Jack's love. Yes. Yep. Yes, you do. The writers wanted to test their friendship, I think. I think they wanted to test us. Like John Tinker, threw some things out at us. I honestly believe that both Elizabeth and Rosemary are human and they make mistakes.
Indeed. Mm-hmm.
And you have to make them human. They can't be perfect because then they don't become believable and we don't get sucked into the story and we act like they're real people. Like we're insane. We are.
We've never done that.
Yes. Oh, Candace, she was a hot mess. She was like, I remember when she's like me right now, hyper. I remember when she was talking to Elizabeth about the balloon and she's going like this and talking and Elizabeth's looking at her like, oh, are we back to all that? Like, okay. Yes, it was awesome. I love that scene, Roxanne. Thank you. Oh yes, Rosemary offered Lucas her services. So funny. Remember that in the beginning? Yeah. What you were talking about and he's like, I already have a piano player. No, didn't need a piano player. It was that piano that played
piano. Yeah, that was the entertainment. Oh, she was so ticked at him.
I know this where she changed everybody's order. You should have something different. I know. What's this? Hey, don't forget, Molly came back from taking Bill to what city? She was so excited. Maybe they're a new couple. Oh, I know that they're a new couple. I know it. I know it because I called up Molly, not the actress, but Molly. I know she's all excited. Like, I got to tell you something. What's this? Good idea, Kathy. A black man invented a stoplight. Perhaps Joseph can do this one.
That would be nice.
Joseph has 42 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's going to invent. I thought, who I thought would make a good mayor? Ned.
And Ned's got his hand in too much stuff. Lee wanted it so bad, and Lee would be excellent at it. I think it should have gone to Lee.
I truly thought it would have been Lee. Christina says, unless Abigail comes back as a guest, maybe Lucas sent for her to be at their wedding as a present for Elizabeth.
I could see that so clearly. That would be great.
Christina, do you think Paul Green comes back this season? I will tell you this. If he's coming back, he has not been there because he is right now filming something for is it CBS? He's with Anna White. Anna White I had her on. She does many things for Hallmark, but her most recent was Campfire Christmas. But for CBS, I'm pretty sure it's CBS. She was writing Fit for Christmas because they're getting the main channels are getting into that Christmas movie thing going on, and he stars in it. And they're all over social media hanging out and posting all kinds of fun things. So they're going to be filming all the way into November. So there's a possibility that he'll come on set later. Also, when I have everybody here, we know the 100th episode has been filmed. We know it because Kevin said it. Kevin said it's already done, and they had moved on and it was either going to be episode 2 or 3. And where was I going? I was going to tell you. Oh, the 100th episode, I really thought would be like their wedding of some sort. But now I'm wondering how big of a wedding it would be. And maybe they'll have a bigger reception. I had thought about that before. And here's why I'm saying that. Julie's on set, so she might be there for a while, the actress, Charlotte. But her mother, who wasn't at her first wedding, is filming, and she's filming a new series. And they are filming just as long as When Calls the Heart is. So I don't know how she's going to be in that. And then Helen, she's filming. she was on set taking pictures, Terrell, while they would have been doing the 100th episode. So a lot of these, I can't imagine Lucas getting married and his mother's not there. So
I'm thinking, worried, speculating if they're going to do some kind of time jump. I mean, I could see the biggest thing that happens in the 100th episode is Rosemary giving birth. So I don't know. They've done it before, doing the time jumps, which would have meant they've been engaged for a year, which is not unheard of. So I'm with you. I think we're on the same page with this. I think they'd save the wedding for when more actors could be available to be there, because it would be realistic. I'm also wondering, though, Lucas has never been married, but are they going to do the same kind of wedding that she's already had the big extravaganza with Jack. And I don't know where I read this or heard this, but like not doing it in the same place where she and Jack were married.
A lot of people say that. Yeah.
They would do something different. Who knows? Again, this is part of the excitement of looking forward to season 10.
Yeah. Jay Boers, When Hope Calls is filmed in Canada. Okay. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if it was or not. That's good to know. She got permission to film these 2 episodes. Yes, she did. I remember that Jackie Collier got to take a walk on the set. And for some reason, that's what made me think that it was not filmed in Canada. So I don't know.
Ooh, Susan, I love your idea for the 100th episode.
Who is this?
Susan Arabia. I don't know Arabia. I don't know.
It's Arabia. Where is Sue?
8:56 Eastern.
I know. I was wondering this. Could be flashbacks of all the characters and seasons. I know, because they've never really done that.
How did we get to where we are?
Yeah. Who knows? We miss Lucas going into Elizabeth's house for the first time. Maybe we missed their wedding. Oh, no. We would not miss their wedding.
Hey, I don't know if anybody watches Blue Blood, but, I said the same thing. They're not going to, screw up Jamie and Eddie's wedding. Yeah, right.
I know that's a sore point with you. They're saying, Brian was agreeing, they were saying that possibly, Arlene was saying, maybe they'll film things and out of order, and then they will edit it later. And I can see that because they've done it. And Deb's like, no, and I'm not quite sure of what. No, Deb, what are you knowing? What did we say? And you got me at, and you don't like it. Tell us.
I still think there's Lucas' story to tell before they settle down and get married. I mean, we've heard nothing about his dad. We've not met his dad. We know the situation with him and his mom, but him and his dad, I want to know what the backstory is there.
Oh, Deb says she loves the idea of the theory of bringing back Abigail made her tear up. Molly's
Abigail, or if Elizabeth has to choose between Abigail and Mary for the maid of honor.
No. Molly sporting that new flower hair clip on Instagram. She's strutting for her new man.
That's gorgeous hair clip, and it looks very heavy.
Maybe that's why it's coming back in midsummer. Did it say midsummer or mid-year? They didn't really say.
Mid 2023.
Yeah, mid 2023. No wedding. Huh? They're going to have a wedding. You're saying no for them saying they're not having a wedding. Okay, because they're going to have one. I get you. That's why she went, no. I had a theory. I put it in one of my very few predictions that I did this for the next season. And one of my theories about the wedding was that they did something small and private. However, they had a big ceremony, a reception where everybody was there. So I don't know. Like elope, we talked about that. Yes, but still had like a reception. I would love for Clara to come back and design Elizabeth's dress, because she did a wonderful job on her wedding dress, and she did. And I don't know what's going on with that actress, because she has totally been off. As soon as she left when Calls the Heart, she was totally off the grid. Yeah. So We will be back, you and I, on the 12th of September, which is a Monday night. And we're going to be talking about the movie of When Calls the Heart, right? So we're not going to give you too many details, but we're going to do, because it's the 10th season, we're going to do 10 episodes. And because of the special 100th episode, we're going to do 100 facts that we learned from When Calls the Heart. But we have some surprises in each episode. We're not going to reveal those, okay? There isn't really big surprises in episode 1, but in episode 2 and 3, we have surprises for you. And episode 4 and 5 and 6, so you got to tune in.
Okay? If anyone hasn't seen the movie, I just saw it within the last month or so. I hadn't watched the actual, I don't know if they call it the pilot movie or whatever, but it's really interesting to watch where they started out. And then somewhere between that and the time they launched the series, they kind of took it, a little bit different direction for some of the characters, but it's really interesting to see where they started out and how the series ended up getting launched. So if anyone has a chance to check that out, if you haven't, check it out.
Yeah. Yes. And if you can't participate, they do post and you can then talk afterwards. Kathy, you should always go back because sometimes they're asking questions directly to you. So not now, when we post, when we're done, this always posts. And then people who weren't in here or want to see it again could come back and then they leave comments.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes they're asking you some things. So you just have to go onto YouTube and look it up and you can see. Yes, that's true. John Tinker did want the wedding to happen. I wonder if that will change under the new showrunner. Doubt it very much. It's very much going to happen. What's this? Thank you, Jan. Oh, I was going into withdrawal. Here we go. Movie where the characters.
We're not going to spoil it. Don't spoil it. Not all of the characters. I'll put it that way. So check it out.
Good. Yes, I won't spoil it. Thank you.
I saw it on Hallmark Movies Now. I get that. I think it's on Amazon Prime, but you may have to pay for it.
It is on Amazon Prime. Yep. Yeah. Deb, don't spoil it. We zipped my lip.
Or Brian, don't spoil it, Brian.
No one spoil it. Yes, it's very good. It's very much the book because it is a book. And it's interesting. Wait, here, Arlene. Roxanne, did you see Peter's latest post looking good? Isn't he? I did. I saw it. I saw it. Yes. Yeah. I hope the Coulter baby doesn't change. Faith. You mean doesn't change them? Good. Brian's saying mom's the word. He's a good man. He'll keep it. I didn't say anything.
Okay. With their own baby. That is going to be the most adorable thing ever.
I know. Faith. I hope the Coulter baby doesn't change. You mean that they're going to have a baby? I'm not sure if I know exactly what you mean. You know what I love?
I thought
change them. Okay.
Yeah.
One thing that I remember Kevin saying was he couldn't tell, us the sex of the baby. Oh, the fact that it's happening, Faith saying, no, it won't change. No, it won't. Let's see. Let me push that back there for a second. It won't change, Faith. They're definitely having a baby because Kevin said they didn't even know what the sex of the baby was. But then when Pascal found out, they were both texted at the same time. They told them the sex of the baby and the name. They were like, oh, like the name. So the name has some kind of meaning. And with Rosemary, it could be anything. I mean, I could do a whole prediction on that. It could be, a nod to one of their family members. And it can't be a nod to his brother because his nephew was named after his brother. Remember the brother that died? So he wouldn't name it unless they took the female version of that. Now, was his brother's name Thomas? What was his brother's name? Lee's brother that died. Anyone out there remember off the top of their head? Because let's say it was Thomas, then they could name her Thomas, make it a girl and name her Thomasina. Or if it was Frank and name her Frankie, you know what I mean? They could play around with that. Unless it has to do with something theatrical with Rosemary, a song that she would always sing or something. So Patrick. Okay, so
Or
Patricia.
maybe it'll be the godparents' names. Maybe they'll name their baby Luca Beth.
Oh, I can't. That's the stuff you say kills me. This is almost good. That's when poor Matthew, when Matthew froze on the screen and he wrote, "Oh, geez, oh, I can't." I don't know why I find that hilarious, but my stomach is hurting me. Oh. Can't get it together. I'm sorry, everyone. What a way to end. Okay. All right. I got it together. Oh. It's the way you said it. It was your delivery. All right, everyone. I think it's time for us to say goodnight.
Well, we'll see you on the 12th. Watch that movie so you can weigh in on it when we talk about it.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. All right. Good night, everyone. See you. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.